Hello, this is Noreen Crone-Findlay from Crone-Findlay.com and TottyTalksCrafts.com. Now, I am the author of Innovative Weaving on the Frame Loom, as well as quite a few other books, and I absolutely love the Mirrix Saffron Loom. And so Mirrix and I Elena at Mirrix, and I talked about how the Innovative Weaving on the Frame Loom book works so beautifully on the Saffron Loom. And so Mirrix is offering a starter kit for beginning weaving. I used it to create the Einstein banner. And this, so you can go to Mirrix Looms and order the book, Innovative Weaving on the Frame Loom, the Mirrix Saffron, and normally when I'm working with the saffron, I like to have it on this is the Sandy stand, but today, because I'm photographing and filming from the top down onto the table, I'm weaving flat, but normally I like to use the stand. So Mirrix, the Mirrix website has the book and the loom and the stand and a lovely kit with everything together. Today what I'm going to be showing you how to do is how to weave butterflies on the saffron loom using a variation of the triangle technique that I show in Innovative Weaving on the Frame Loom. Now, the butterfly is, of course, a symbol of hope and transformation and healing and all the things we need right now. Each wing, you weave the wings separately. Each wing is a triangle, and then after you have woven both of the wings, just one triangle for each wing, then I'll show you how to make the body. I've already woven one of the wings, and I'm going to show you now how to weave the second wing. The technique that I use for weaving the wings is different than what I show in the book, because I show how to weave a full-size triangle in the book. Now today we're going to be weaving a half-size triangle. So that means I have set the loom up to 3 inches from the lower set of pegs to the upper set of pegs. I'm using a number 4 medium weight yarn, and I'm going to leave a tail end that will become the traveling strand that's going to move up the right hand edge of the triangle. So I'm going to leave about a 6-inch, 15 centimeter end, and I'm going to go under, over 4 pegs, and then under 2 pegs, so that I will have 5 empty pegs. And then I will start wrapping my warp on the 6th peg. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to go around the 6th peg and back down. I went to below that peg, up to the left, around to the right, and down. Don't pull your yarn really tight, because you need to have flexibility when you're making the triangles. You're going to go across the loom by going below the next peg, up to the left, around to the right, and down. And you'll do that a total of 11 times, which is exactly half of the pegs of the saffron loom. So that's going to give you here is a butterfly making the triangles full size as in the book. And here is the half size butterfly that I'm doing today. So I'm going to continue with wrapping my warp strands quite softly. You don't pull up tightly when you're weaving triangles, because they will pull in on you, and that's not a good thing. So I will stop and count here in a moment when I think I've got the 11 pegs done. That might be 10, might be 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more set of pegs, and then I will make the diagonal. I go around to the 11th peg down at the left-hand side. I'm coming up and I'm going around the peg that is adjacent to the first peg. So I now have 4 empty pegs on this side, and I take my yarn back down to the lower edge, and I'm going to snip off, leaving about 6 inches. And I will just lock that in by weaving that tail end into the pegs on the lower edge there. And I want that end to be out of the way, so I'm going to take it back there and take it to the back of the loom. Now I am going, you can use a crochet hook, but I like to use a weaving hook that I made from a chopstick. And so you can go to a link that I will post in the write-up under this video, and also on my blog on Toddy Talks Crafts. And the link for the video for how to make this hook will be listed there. It's on my YouTube channel. So now we're going to go over 2, under 2, and when I'm saying over 2, under 2, that is a complete set of loops on the loom, all the way across, over, under, over, under, over, under, and now bring the, you would normally, if you didn't have that diagonal, you'd just be coming out over top of those loop strands, but you're going to come out over top of those loop strands and the diagonal. Lift that first upper loop off, place it on the hook, pull it through, and then you're going to take your traveling strand from the lower right hand side over the hook, through the loop, give myself a bit more to work with, and that first loop is locked. Push it down, not really hard, just enough, and then you go under, over, you go over the ones you went under before and under the ones you went over before. And so again, you'll come out on top, lift your loop off, take it over the hook and through. And so each row, as you're moving up the diagonal, the hypotenuse of the triangle, each row becomes shorter. And the diagonal is the long edge of the butterfly wing. We're making, each of the wings is made, both upper and lower wing is formed from just that one single triangle. So you don't have to make 4 triangles to weave the butterfly. It's 3 pieces. It's the 2 triangles for the wings and 1 triangle, and then the body is made on the loom. So I figured out a way to make the body that works with the loom still set up to the same height as the woven wing, so that you don't have to switch around the dimensions and fiddle with the loom between butterflies. You can just go into butterfly production mode by being able to weave both the bodies and the wings all on the same setting of the loom. And getting close to the top now. So you can see how this strand, the traveling strand that was the tail end, is moving up the right hand edge and is securing your right hand edge. If we didn't take this strand through the loops, the triangle would simply fall apart, and that would not be a good thing at all. Getting close to the top here. If you find that your triangle is a bit loopy, add another strand of yarn to your yarn, and having thicker yarn will make the triangle less loopy. Now that just popped off. I didn't actually want it to pop off, but I'll just hold on to that. That's the loop from the diagonal. This is the last of the loops at the top, and I'm going to take it through the traveling strand goes through it, and the traveling strand is also going to go through the loop of the diagonal. But we're not going to do that quite yet, because what I want to do is I want to now see how there's a really nice curve here at the top. I do that by pulling on the diagonal, and I keep the hook in the diagonal loop so that I can curve this, and that way, see how I pull back on the loop of the diagonal there? And that, because the diagonal strand has to go up and around the hook and back down. If you didn't leave the hook in there, you can get bumps of diagonal yarn sticking out, which is not that great. And so let's see. I am feeling pretty happy with that. So I'm getting a, let's see, how is that compared? Yeah, that curve is looking pretty nice. So I'm going to, now that I'm happy with this curve, I am going to take my traveling strand through that loop at the top. Now this is something new. This has not happened before. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it too much. What I want to do now is I want to gather this edge to make, see how the lower wing is like a little ball? So in order to turn this long lower edge, well, it's not the longest, but it looks long now because I've pulled up on the hypotenuse to make that short. So I'm going to take my needle here. Here it is. I'm going to use a bigger one. I'm going to take the end that was at the lower left-hand edge into the needle, and I'm going to go back through this loop just to kind of lock that, and I'm going to take the needle through all of the loops. And is that a loop? Yeah, okay. Back through all the loops, and then I'm going to put my finger in and pull up, and it makes a little pocket almost, and I want that little pocket to curve right around. So I'm going to take my needle through a second time, and there I have now shaped that into a circle. And so that's the lower wing. Now I take and I'm going to wrap to form that little ball that the wing makes. I'm going to wrap around there to pull in that division between the upper and lower wing, and I'm going to turn it over and stitch through the wraps, and then I'm going to weave in all the ends. Oh, by the way, if you can hear snoring, it's my little companion dog, our Chihuahua Rescue Mystery Mix, is very, very devoted, and so he has to be right where I am. And so his bed is right here beside me, and he is snoring resoundingly. So if you hear snoring, it's not me, it's not my husband, it's our little dog. Okay, so I'm weaving this end in, and if I have a stitch here sticking out that I don't like, well, that's great because I still have an end that I can use to just weave it in. so that I end up with a nicely shaped, round-ish lower wing. And that's pretty good. So, sweet dreams, puppy. And so I'll just keep stitching until, well, okay. That one came out of the needle, thank you very much. I was going to say I'll keep stitching until till the yarn is done. And then I'll trim the end. Okay, good. It's coming out on me again. There we go. I think it's time to just trim that end. So that now gives me my, let's snip that off. That gives me my lower wing and my upper wing. Now, I want the upper wing to be, see how this one has a nice curve? I get that really nice curve by threading this end in, and I'm going to pull that stitch up and stitch through it a couple of times to secure my end. And then I'm going to stitch through, slide my needle through those edge stitches, and I'm going to want I'm going to want to curl them a bit, like that. By pulling on that edge, that's how I get, whoops, I'm so sorry, I was out of the camera. I was so busy looking at what I was doing that I wasn't seeing that I was out of range. Okay, so I have stitched through this edge and I've pulled on it to give that nice little curve. And so I'm going to take my thread down in and weave that back in and do a bit more shaping. I'll get that out of the way so you can see better. Just do a bit more shaping here using this tail end and pulling up on it. And then I will just weave this tail end in. There we go. So there's the two wings. Let's snip that end off. So there's the wings to the butterfly. Now I cut a 45-inch length of sport weight, whatever, worsted weight, sport weight. Anyhow, it was just in my stash without a label. But so again, I'm going to make about a 6-inch tail end, and I'm going to make a slip knot, and I will pull that open. I'm going to put the slip knot onto the loom, and then I'm going to pull on that. I want the tail end to be at the middle. And now I'm going to wrap another about 5 times around. Oops, sorry. And there. And now I'm going to tie a knot with the tail end. Tie the first half of the knot just to get me around to there. And I've taken this end under and I'm wrapping again. And now I'm going to tie a knot that will lock that at the center. Okay, now I'm going to ignore this end for now. I'm not going to work with it for now. I'm going to take this end in. I'm going to lift the top set of loops off onto my needle and the lower set of loops onto my needle. That will then fold them in half. And what I'll do is I'm going to stitch 3 times, 2, and 3, and that will lock. That is now the base of the body. Okay, that's the base of the body. Sorry that I keep drifting out of frame. I can now set my loom aside. Now I will stitch through one lower wing about halfway up, back through the body, back through the other lower wing. I'm going to pull tight because I want those snugged together. See how I've pulled them right tight together? And now I'm going to stitch back through the first wing, pull up tight, back through the body into the second wing. Ooh, I should have used a bit sharper needle. This one's a bit dull. And pull up tight. Okay, and now I'm going to get a smaller needle because that one's not working so well for me. And I'm going to stitch over these that where I did the wrap stitch there across the body there. I want to just lock this in. So I'm going in and around and through and through again, and then I'm going to take this end into one of the lower bodies to just bury that end. And then I'll move up to the head. Okay. Snip that end off. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing at the top of the body. I will, at the head here, I'm going to pick up a stitch on the wing, go through the body, pick up a stitch on the other wing, pull up. Okay, now I've gone through the wing, I'm going to go back through the body, and now I'm going to make the neck by going around the head of the body 3 times at the neck, around the head of the body, yeah, around the head and the body 3 times. I'm going to stitch through to lock those stitches. Another stitch through. This little head and body are so simple, but you wouldn't believe how many iterations I had to go through to figure out how to do this. But hey, that's the life of being a designer. You figure the things out. Okay, and I'm going to stitch through the neck wraps again. I had to thread it back in. And then you can either take the end in and bury it in the edge of the wing, or you can just trim it here. Now, you can wear this as a pin by sewing a, there's still another little end sticking out there. Let's nip that off. You can sew a pin on the back of the butterfly to wear it as a brooch, or if you want to hang it, cut a length of yarn and then take it through the head and just tie a knot, and that kind of makes antenna, but it also makes a hanging loop. So they make, you can sew them onto hats or scarves or blankets or pillows as appliques. You can, if you do yarn bombing, you can hang one in the trees or in the flowers, and the sky's the limit. It can be whatever you imagine it can be, but mostly it's all about joy and hope and love and connection. So I hope you will enjoy making butterflies on the Saffron Loom, and referring back to innovative weaving on the Frame Loom. And do go to Mirrix and treat yourself to a wonderful Christmas present, or a wonderful birthday present, or a wonderful just because I love to weave and make beautiful things present. So they are available on the Mirrix Loom site. And happy butterflies, happy weaving. Talk to you again soon. So I will put these instructions, like this link will go to my Toddy Talks Crafts, and so you'll be able to find it there, and on Facebook and other places too. Happy weaving, everyone. Take good care. Bye for now.